Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers and we're broadcasting to you live from Suzuka in Japan for the Formula Renault Australian Championship. We have 2 minutes left of the warm-up and then we're going to be having the race start. So let's have a quick look at the weather and we'll see exactly what the drivers are facing. But while I'm trying to get the weather up, I'd just like to welcome Luke Emerton. How you going, Luke?
Yeah, good mate, good. In again for another exciting race, hopefully, around here at Suzuka. Massive field tonight, 60 cars, so one split, and should make things very interesting, not just for the drivers, but also for ourselves as well in the commentary box.
Yeah, it certainly will, that's for sure. And if the broadcast is a bit jerky out there, it's because of the number of cars and my poor machine trying to render that many cars. But looking at the weather out there, it's a track temp of 39 degrees Celsius, sky's clear, and they've got a strong wind speed of 29 kilometres an hour, so that's going to test the drivers tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and this track can test drivers at the best of times, Bernie, with high speeds and big fields, so yeah, just another thing to throw into the mix.
Yeah, exactly right, and I'm having a look down here at the moment. We have 56 drivers in the server at the moment, with a minute to go. Let's have a look at our point score. So at the moment, Michael McCabe is leading the way on 5,170 points, followed by Gary Hamilton in second on 5,150 points, very close up the top there. Ben Smith in third on 4,555 points. Fourth, Tim Harris on 4,494 points, and then rounding out your five is Justin Strickland on 4,490 points. So there's still all three steps on the podium to play for.
Yeah, and we've seen with a few different winners over the last few weeks, Bernie, that this championship is going to go right down to the wire by the look of it.
Yeah, it certainly is, and just turning you up a little bit because you're a bit quiet just then.
No worries, I just don't want the wife yelling at me while she's watching TV, so try and keep the voice where I can.
That's alright, I just boosted you up to 20, so you're nice and loud now. But 5 seconds of warm-up finished, and then we'll take you through the grid, folks. I probably won't get through the whole grid by the time we're ready to race, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, I think we'll try to get top 20 maybe, Bernie, and I think that might do us, I think, before the lights drop green here.
Yeah, I think we'll just cover the top 20 off, and we'll go from there. So looking at our grid, Ben Smith will start from pole position tonight, followed by Michael McCabe in second. Third, Gary Hamilton. Josh Anderson will start out of fourth, and Riley Preston will start out of fifth. Sixth is Danny Davison. Seventh, Darren Marsh. Eighth, Craig Edwards. Simon Feigl will start out of ninth, and Tim Harris will start out of 10th position.
Yeah, we got Scott Newton in 11th, David Jellings in 12th, Justin Strickland in 13th. Mark Rayner in 14th, Troy Burgess in 15th, Guy Leach in 16th, Ryan Harris in 17th, Matthew Trotman in 18th, Riley Blythe in 19th, and rounding out our top 20 this evening is Martin Sizzlevazzi, a good one in there to throw me off for the 20th.
Yeah, there you go. So that's your top 20, folks, and we're getting ready to go racing here at Suzuka. Ben Smith will start from pole, and here we go. So hold on to your breath. 60 cars into turn one. Revs will be rising now under green, and we're underway here at Suzuka tonight. All 60 are away cleanly, and Ben Smith's got a good start here.
Yeah, that's right, Bernie. I'm watching now from the blimp view just so I can get all these cars into a bit of a view, and a bit of congestion into that first corner, a bit of a double apex here, 1 and 2. And the field's streaming through now, 60 odd cars, the buzz of 2-litre engines, and it's good excitement for the crowd here. It's an almost touch there, about 5-6 cars back, but looking good coming up through the S's.
Yeah, it certainly is. All the guys are keeping it nice and clean, and you can see Alex Pole there. Oh, there's a bit of contact in the back there, and a couple of cars have connected, so we spoke too soon, I think.
Yeah, and hoping tonight, Bernie, we see a lot more closer battles throughout the entire race. The last few weeks they've broken up a little bit. But yeah, Colin Sooty there just off a little bit wide. Managed to gather it up now and didn't lose any positions. So yeah, hopefully we see these cars not spread out as much tonight and give us some nice excitement all the way through the 18 laps that we got around here.
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, your top five, folks, Ben Smith's leading, followed by Michael McCabe, Gary Hamilton sitting in third at the moment. Josh Anderson's challenging though as he looks on the inside. Is he going to make that stick? It's very tight and a bit of a touch there, and Josh Anderson's through. So Gary Hamilton down to fourth. Riley Preston is your top five. So it'll probably take him a couple of laps to settle down here, but there's a great battle going on with Darren Marsh at the moment as he's going down the inside, and there's another two cars hit. Darren ran into the side of one of those cars and unfortunately put them both into the cones and off the track.
Yeah, it was Gary Hamilton there, just having a bit of an excursion, but looks like he's gathered up okay and managed not to hit the pit wall on the way back onto the main straight, and just behind him there's four cars now battling for a position of one piece of track.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? They're going 3-4 wide. Another big crash down here in the field with two cars going around. So it's definitely this big field is definitely causing chaos with a lot of the guys out there tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Simon Fiegel, Scott Newton, Darren Marsh and Tim Harris in that four-car battle. I was just watching there for anywhere from 7th to 10th position by the look of it.
Yeah, and keep an eye on Simon, folks. He's a pretty fast driver when he gets wound up, and he's getting into the rhythm now, and we should see him moving up through the field as the race progresses.
Yeah, definitely can't miss that bright yellow ERA livery on that one either, which we're quite familiar with running up towards the pointy end of this field over the last few weeks. So yeah, definitely want to watch out being a little bit further back in the field than maybe what he would like tonight, but currently sitting in 10th position I think at the moment, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on him further on in this race.
Yeah, and he's got Gary Hamilton right behind him. Gary's having a look again. He did have a go at the hairpin back there, but he didn't make it stick, so Simon's going to want to move forwards, because if he doesn't, Gary's going to pounce.
Yeah, Gary, another one of our consistent top pointy end cars in this field, and again, might not be as far up as what he'd like, but I'm sure him and Simon will work their way through this field if they can, and obviously maybe try another one of those pit stops that we've seen strategies work out over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and there goes Darren Marsh ahead of them. He outbraked himself again in that chicane, and he's going to make himself vulnerable, but Gary Hamilton's in.
How about Darren Marsh under all sorts of pressure here down the main straight, with Scotty Newton looking to take advantage of that, and Simon Fiegel, great run out of that last corner as they all come into one 2x2.
Yeah, well, they know now Darren's weak point is that chicane. He's outbraked himself two laps in a row, so no doubt that's where they're going to put the pressure on him.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the tyres still maybe not up to temperature, only on the third lap as well, Bernie, just contributing to a few of those lockups that he's had, and not enough turning getting into the corners. He seems to be going a bit straight on there.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, folks, why we're covering this battle back here in 6, it's because your top 5 is spread right out. So you've got Ben Smith leading the way. He has a 1.3 second gap over Michael McCabe in second, who also has a 1.3 second gap over Josh Anderson here in third position. And then he's got a 2 second gap back to Riley Preston. So the top 5 are definitely spread out, and the battle's going on back here in 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment.
And just while you were covering that for us, Bernie, Simon has got that move done on Scotty Newton, so he's now up into 7th place once our timing corrects itself. So nice move done there, nice and easy, and now he's got a bit of work to do to get up to the next car as well of Darren Marsh up ahead there. So somehow out of all of that, Darren's got away with that after that close fight into the first corner at the start of this lap.
Yeah, he's pulled a bit of a gap, hasn't he? So that must have been while those other two guys fought it out for that position. There's another good battle going on back here with David Jellings at the moment and Mark Rayner.
Yeah, that battle there for 11th and 12th. I'll look at Bernie and just coming into the last chicane now, and about a car length's in it, so we'll look to get what kind of draft these cars have down here. And don't mind the paint job on Mark's car there. It's quite a cool looking graphic with the flakes coming off it, so we'll be looking to go even faster and try and rip some more of that paint off to get past David at the moment.
yeah, no doubt. So having a look at some of the cars that have been in a little bit of strife out there, Stuart Carsley and Danny Davison have both had to make unscheduled stops by the looks of it here, unless my telemetry's lying. Warren Pickering has also had quite a lengthy stop there for Redback Racing.
Yeah, and also Gavin Sadler, who I believe started around that 20th mark, I believe. He's also gone a lap down as well now.
Yeah, so it's claimed a few of them so far, and no doubt we'll see more. Brock Kramer's another one that's in trouble out there that has had to do a lengthy stop as well.
Yeah, sorry, Benny. Gavin had started 54. Sorry to correct myself there, and yeah, he's found himself a lap down, so I believe he might have got in a bit of trouble there as well, because we haven't really seen the leaders go past any lap cars on track so far. Yeah,
it'd be all the toes, I'd say. They're, 477 seconds looks like a toe to me.
Yeah, definitely. We just had a car spinning off back there, Bernie. Let's have a look who that was. It's Martin Slavsky, the last name I cannot pronounce for the life of me, in the 010 car. Looks like he's had a bit of a drama there around Spoon, around 13-14 there. He's just run wide and looped the car.
And Joseph Falcamada has also had a bit of an off-track there as well. We'll just have a look at this spin that Martin had. He's actually ran wide there and continued on, so that would explain that off track. But at the moment, the question is, Josh Anderson, can he actually pull these guys in? Having a look at the live gap at the moment, he's down 1.6 seconds from Michael McCabe and up 1.5 from Riley Preston, so a bit of work there to go for Josh Anderson tonight.
Yeah, definitely. At that kind of gap too, he's just outside the advantages of a little bit of toe what he can get off one of these cars, so he'll be looking for outright pace to try and catch that gap up at the moment, with Ben Smith, as we've seen, so consistent in his lap times that very hard for him to catch up without any sort of mistakes.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if qualifying was ever important, it was definitely important tonight to get to the pointy end of this 60-car field here tonight at Suzuka.
Yeah, definitely, and as we've seen with a few of the incidents, it's a bit hard to avoid absolutely everything when there's 60 cars on track as well.
Yeah, looking down here in 23rd at the moment, Phil Gadd is trying to round up TJ Brown. He's got Mick Gray, and Mick's one of the faster Skip Barber drivers, so it's good to see him out there tonight having a crack at the Formula Renaults. But he's got Darren Marsh right behind him here. And Darren was in 8th. He's all the way down in 23rd at the moment.
Yeah, no sign of a pit stop there, Bernie, either, so at all, do you know?
No pit stop. I'd say he's had a spin or something's gone wrong, and it's happened this lap because he was in 8th last time through.
Yeah, I guess the good thing about these larger fields there, Bernie, that you're going to find a battle somewhere, no matter what your kind of car speed is at the moment. There's battles all over the place.
Oh, there certainly is, and Darren's going to, we know he's got the speed, but he's just got to knuckle down now and see how far he can get up in the field. He's only got 13 laps to do it here though, so a lot of work for Darren Marsh to come back tonight. Yeah,
and that was Kevin Henderson in that black Lotus looking car that just had an off in front of them there through the last chicane that he might have just caught a glint of. I think he might have just ran it wide himself and outbraked and gone through the chicane just in front of that battle that we were watching.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I like the look of that car.
Yeah, it's quite a retro look, that one, the old Lotus black and gold theme. It's good, actually.
Yeah, and he's having a battle with Scott Goodman and Shane Hammond. So there's battles all up and down the field here. We'll try and bring the viewers some of the more interesting ones. But sorry,
mate. Russell Clark just in front of him there, running a little bit wide in front of Kevin, and might try and look to have an advantage here.
Yeah, so at the moment, let's have a look at what's going on up the front. Not a lot. Just the usual. Ben Smith is streaking away from the field. That gap's out to 1.6 seconds now over Michael McCabe in second. Josh Anderson still third. Riley Preston still fourth. Tim Harris rounds out our top 5 here tonight. And Simon's 10.4 seconds down from the leader at this point in time.
Yeah, and I might jump on board with Ben, and we might take our viewers for a lap around this Suzuka circuit, mate, in a Formula Renault maybe.
Yeah, why not? So folks, we're going to jump on board. We're going to be quiet and let you enjoy this. So crank up the sound and enjoy a ride around Suzuka. So that was a lap around Suzuka with our race leader Ben Smith. That gap now is down to 1.5 seconds, and Michael McCabe is still trying to close that gap.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bernie, that little 2-litre engine's working. It's hard out trying to get around this fast circuit, and just under a minute for these guys in these Formula Renaults. So yeah, it's great sound, that thing at full noise around most of the circuit, as we could hear flat through a lot of those corners, just the same as an F1. So yeah, it's good fun by the look of it to have a drive around here.
Oh yeah, these cars would be very well suited to Suzuka, and Suzuka would be suited to them. So the guys no doubt are having a great time out there. I'm sure there's a few guys out there not having a great time, but you know, that's what sells stories, I guess, when they go to have a few drinks.
Yeah, it's hitting Josh Anderson now under all sorts of pressure from Riley Preston here for the last step of the podium as they coming up round Spoon into turn 15 or whatever it is, 140R, I believe. I can't remember what it's called. But they're side by side now, and that does not work, as we've seen, as they touch wheels as well.
Yeah, and he sent Josh Anderson off into the boonies there, but banging wheels. That's a pretty gutsy move in an open wheeler, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not Ron Burney, as we've seen though. These Formula Renaults are built a bit like Sherman tanks. They seem to have a few hits and not worry about it too much, compared to the old Star Mazda, even the Skip Barber there, mate. So yeah, it's interesting. Is it still going to stay right up each other's gearbox here, and he's going to try if he's reared on the grass there as well.
Yeah, and Josh Anderson's going to get this back, but will he? That's a question. Yes, he does. Riley Preston has to pull in, but he's not giving up yet.
Tell you what, you'd think it was the last lap of the race. Oh, it's his locked wheel, and he's gone.
Yeah, he's into the fence as well, so that's going to cost him quite a lot, because this field streaming through, he's rejoining back in, where is he, about 7th or 8th.
Yeah, about that, Bernie. That was really strange. As he went to turn in there, he must have had a little bit of brake on the car, and it just snapped and locked the rear wheel and went straight off. No contact there by the look of it. It's definitely a rear locked wheel though by the look before.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at this in super slow-mo and see if we can work out what's going on here. Just having a look at the super slow-mo, yeah, that was bizarre. They were going wheel to wheel, and the cars just snapped. It doesn't look like there was much contact between the two of them, and yeah, around goes Riley.
Yeah, it was almost as if he had like a ghost car hit that rear right of his, because if they had touched front wheel, the car would have been off the other direction, but he was lucky not to collect Josh there either, as on my screen he's got a bit of net code and the front wing actually went through Josh's rear tyre.
Yeah, that could have been a net code issue, but it didn't seem to affect Josh. That's the only reason I'm a bit hesitant if it was or not, but that's what it looked like, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was like a really late net code call, or yeah, it's very strange.
So, having a look at this battle at the moment, Simon Feigl, he's now starting to work on Tim Harris here, and 9 laps to go. Simon's in 5th, he's trying to get up into 4th now.
Yeah, that's right, and all over the back of him in another bright liveried car in the Evolution sponsorship, as taking very similar lines through the S's as well, and it's where you can get a good run on someone and then line them up for the hairpin as well.
Yeah, it's all about momentum, isn't it? Keeping that momentum up and carrying that down where you can into those straights to make that move.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see there, Tim Harris lost out a bit there to Simon. He took a really wide line around there, and Simon really stuck it against the white line and gained a lot of ground on him.
Yeah, and Scott Newton's coming along to the party as well, and he's starting to put pressure on Simon, so a bit of a good race going on back here.
Yeah, definitely.
And Tim just has to make sure he keeps his eyes forward here, because it's, you know, a lot of drivers fall into the trap, including myself, where you start driving with your eye on the mirrors, and before you know it, you just almost like a magnet dragging the cars to come and attack you.
Yeah, that's right. And as soon as 2 of these cars start to battle, that third car, as we've seen before, of Scott Newton, will be all over these two, and if he just times it right, he'll end up getting 2 spots for the price of 1.
Yeah, that's right. Now they're coming back on the main straight. It's so important to get that exit out of that chicane so right. And just trying to find out, where's Tim Harris? Tim's
he's
coming
just gone in the pits.
Yeah, he's coming in to do his stop. So at the moment, our race leader is Ben Smith, who hasn't stopped. Simon Feigel's second, but he's 14 seconds down from Scott Newton. From Ben Smith. Scott Newton is 15 seconds down. Michael McCabe, who has stopped, comes out in 4th position, and Josh Anderson comes out in 5th position after his stop.
Yeah, it's interesting there. It might have been a good time to go in actually for those guys as we saw that battle going on. And if those two start to have a battle that we were just watching throughout this in-lap, then they're going to be very disadvantaged and these guys will come out in front of them.
Yeah, and for the viewers that are new to this series, the guys have to make one pit stop. They have to put in some fuel, but tyres are optional. So therefore we're seeing a lot of stops around the 4-second mark. The fastest out there was 2.2 seconds, and that was Dylan Shepherd down, and he's down in 21st position at the moment according to my telemetry.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bernie, that doesn't even seem like you need to really put the hose in and out. By the time it's only done, then you're off again.
Yeah, well, they're definitely Formula One stops, aren't they? Minus the tyres, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
So we saw Gary Hamilton early dive into the pits. He's actually caught up in quite a bit of traffic here, and he's in 12th position, fighting it out with Russell Clark at the moment. So that undercut or whatever he was trying to do by pitting early has thrown him into a lot of traffic.
Yeah, and another thing you really have to watch around here is with that amount of cars, as you say, is just the traffic where you come out and you pit stop.
Yeah, and Riley Preston's just ahead of him in 10th position as he's now making a move on Mick Gray. So the guys that have pitted are now mixed up with the guys that haven't pitted as yet.
Yeah, that can cause all sorts of dramas because the guys that are still out on track that haven't pitted, well, they've got every right to fight for their position, even though they will obviously lose that position when they pit. But, yeah, there's no blue flag shown and they have every right to race.
Exactly right, and the interesting thing's going to be where Gary shakes out once all these cars pit. At the moment, the only guy that has not pitted is the guy right ahead of him, Riley Preston, in 8th. The rest have. So here are your top 10, folks. Ben Smith is still leading. He's got a massive gap of 28 seconds. Well, I'll take that back. 3 seconds back to Michael McCabe in 2nd. Josh Anderson's come out in 3rd at the moment, followed by Scott Newton 4th, Tim Harris 5th, Simon Feigl, who's dropped off the back of Tim quite a bit, is in 6th position. 7th we have Riley Preston, who's yet to stop. Then 8th is Gary Hamilton. Russell Clark is 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is David Jellings in 10th position.
Yeah, and the field just starting to spread out a little bit up the front here where the pit stops have been done. A couple of car lengths between, and also our leaders and top 5 or 6 are just starting to get through a few of the lap cars that have already made their pit stops. So yeah, just a bit of traffic to contend with, and it might get a bit congested here in the last 5 or so laps.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Tim Harris is trying to chase down Scott Newton. So Scott has made that pass on Tim earlier, and now Tim's trying to get that slipstream back. And as we can see it now coming into effect, who's going to be the bravest one into the chicane? And it looks like Tim is, as he throws it up the inside and he makes that move.
So what, he's done well there to pull that car up, and he carry a fair bit of speed down there, top gear, flat stick through that sweeping left-hander, and then to try and pull it up there, it's very easy to overshoot, but he's going to be hard struck to keep that position as they're going to go side by side, it looks like, into turns 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, they're still battling on, and this is what Simon wants to see, because while these guys fight, he can try and pull this gap back up.
Yeah, definitely, and as they come now up through the famous S section at Suzuka, these downforce on these cars really love going through here, and not too much brake, just a bit of turn in, a little bit off throttle, and then get a nice run out around towards the hairpin.
So I'm just having a look further down in the field to see if there's any battles going on. It looks like Riley Blythe back here in 16th position is defending to Sam Catacasinos in 15th. But this is what 3 car lengths between them as we see Riley run wide there. So he doesn't want to do that too many times, or else he's going to lose a few positions.
Yeah, definitely with a couple of cars around him, there's every chance he could lose out 3 or 4 in one go if you get too wide around here, and very easy to do with these high-speed corners as well, and these low open-wheel cars don't like off-road excursions as such.
Exactly right, and there's not a lot of clearance between the tub and the bitumen either, so go off a little bit, you might find you get a bit of air.
Yeah, that's right, we have seen that as well in this series a few times.
Yeah, so at the moment Tim Harris is defending against Scott Newton here, but Scott's not given up on this. But it looks like they're dropping Simon though.
Yeah, that's right, somehow they're not battling too hard, but as he just pulls out there, but he's going to tuck back in again as Tim goes into turn 1 and through 2, just looking at the gearbox, and seems to be able to pull away from him here, Tim, just up through the S's, but Scott seems to be a bit stronger in the latter part of the lap, especially into the last chicane there and back onto the main straight, but he just can't seem to get close enough to make that move done. But as you say, they are pulling away from Simon a bit here as well.
Yeah, and the good thing about this series, folks, for the guys that are new to watching the series, it's a fixed setup series, so all these guys are pretty much running identical setups. Well, they are running identical setups, and it makes for very close racing, as we can see here.
Yeah, pretty much arrive and drive as you will. No need to think about setups, just get in the car, run some practice laps, qualify, and have a go.
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there that's interested, send a personal message to Trent Thomas and see if you can get in on the action, because I'm sure they'd love to get more cars out there. I think we're almost hitting the limit as it is now on how many cars can start at Suzuka.
Yeah, that's right. Well, maximum of 60 pit stalls at the moment. I think we have 55 or 54 cars in tonight. So, yeah, normally 2 splits. So don't worry if you're not the Michael Schumacher of or Lewis Hamilton as a newer reference. You can come in, have a go, and there'll be a split for you, whether it be the first or the second, and plenty of racing to be had all the way around. As Scott there's under all sorts of pressure from Simon.
Yeah, he got a pretty slow run out of the chicane, I think it was, and that's brought Simon right onto his rear bumper there. Well, they don't have bumpers, rear tailpipe, and he's sticking right down the inside there, forcing Simon to go to the outside.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's actually probably a better run around the outside there, Bernie, as we see Simon gets the move done. You can seem to carry a little bit more speed with the camber, that corner favouring the outside line, and not too many marbles out there tonight as they haven't run too many laps. So yeah, it's a great move around the outside there.
Certainly was, and you could actually see how much extra speed he could carry into that corner compared to Scott. So Simon's now up to 5th. The question is, can he pull in Tim Harris with 4 laps to go?
Yeah, well, Tim's done well there. He hasn't been driving his mirrors. He just looked forward and not worried about what was going on behind him, and managed to pull a little bit of a gap. And he'd be hoping here that Scotty can catch up to Simon and keep that pressure on, and so he can lengthen his gap a bit there.
Yeah, and Scott's recovered a little bit from that pass, and he's going to be back at it again. So after the shakeout and all those passes, they're pretty much back into the same positions they were before the pit stops. Tim Harris 4th, Simon Feigl 5th, and Scott Newton is in 6th. But I'll tell you what, one guy that is coming back at them is Riley Preston. He's down in 7th position at the moment. Looking at his lap times though, he's lapping in the 158s, low 158s, compared to these guys in the 159s and 2 minute mark.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he'd be one to watch, but he's got to make sure he can catch these guys. I reckon he has to do it within the next lap or 2 to be able to try and get these, or if he's wanting to try and get 3 positions done. But we're on lap 15 now, so only 3 laps to go in this race, which has flown by on such a long track. But he can see him now, so it gives him a bit of motivation to keep his head down and keep punching out those fast lap times, as he just does a 58.9 on his last one.
Yeah, I think he's just going to run out of laps myself. With 3 laps to go, he's needing to pull in about 1 second a lap just to catch them at this stage. So, you know, it'll be close, but I don't think he's going to be able to improve on that position.
Yeah, and with the other boys just in front of him there, the slowest being Scott at a 59.4, but Simon and Tim both doing 58.8 and 58.6 respectively. So those guys won't be caught if they keep matching his lap for lap. But Scott may be the only one in trouble if he can keep pumping out times. But as you say, he's still a second a lap, and it'll be quite hard with only 3 laps to go.
Yeah, so the live telemetry is 1.2 seconds is the gap from Riley to Scott. So it's still possible. He is pulling him in pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's right. And just having another look up front, we've got Benjamin Smith just working his way through a bit of lap traffic with Michael McCabe and Josh Anderson now. They're all about equal lengths apart, and I think our podium might be pretty much set with about 4 seconds in between each car, and then another 8 seconds back now to that battle we were just watching with Tim Harris and Simon Fiegel.
Yeah, the field is definitely getting spread out a bit, even looking further down in the field. What my telemetry can show me, there's not many battles going on as the field has now stretched out. And I guess, you know, we've had the incidents, and this field must be spread all around Suzuka here tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't think there's much spare space on the track, as I'm just watching this battle now between Darren Marsh in position 15, car number 70. There's a whole gaggle of cars here, about 5 or 6 cars, being so that they are lapped, but they're kind of interfering with this battle for 14th and 15th, which might get us a bit of excitement. Actually, there's 16th and 17th there as well, so this is actually a battle between all 4 cars.
Yeah, so we can see who's that on the outside. Ryan Harris, I think.
Yeah, that would be Ryan Harris, yes, just making the move there for, or to keep 14th. Darren Marsh is behind him in 15th. Craig Edwards and Sam Katakazunas in 17th there. So these boys are fighting tooth and nail for these next 5 positions roughly. And yeah, good little battle here. They're all staying together. Yeah,
and the racing down here is just as hard as if these guys are racing for a podium, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. There's still points on offer for these positions, I think, Bernie, all the way down to at least 20th, I think. So, or even maybe right to the field, I'm not sure. But yeah, so they'll all be racing for points and also for pride. Every position is a good position for the sponsors and for the team as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Darren, he's had quite an up and down race, hasn't he? He was right up there fighting for the podium earlier tonight, but for whatever reason he's found himself back here in the 15th trying to get past Ryan Harris.
Yeah, that's right, and he's got a pretty good run on him now as they come up through that sweeping left-hander that I can never remember the name of, but they're going to try and go 2 by 2 again through here, and we saw a bit of touching wheels there before between Josh Anderson and another car, but looks like they're going to get through there all right, and very deep under brakes there by Ryan. And Darren looks like he's got the job done though.
Yeah, it was good driving there, going through the chicane too wide and not banging wheels. But we're on to the last lap now, so let's pick up our race leader, and that's Ben Smith for Evolution Racing Australia. And another fantastic drive. He's pretty much taken pole. He's led every single lap here tonight at Suzuka, and I'll just see, no, my fastest lap is not working again, so we're not sure if he's got the what's that, the hat trick?
Yeah, the hat trick as he was calling it last week, Bernie, and unfortunately he did miss that out last week. I can't remember who took the title. Just looking at his laps now, his fastest lap time was a 1:58.429. So if we have a look back through the field, then we can see who has the fastest time. But at the moment, that would take too long.
Yeah, well, we've got one already, and that's Riley Preston, 1:58.024. But anyway, that's not going to upset Ben too much because he's coming to the chicane now, and round 9 of the Formula Renault Australian Championship goes to Benjamin Smith here at Suzuka tonight.
Yeah, excellent drive by Ben as he gives a bit of a wave to the crowd and a bit of fishtailing towards his crew. And yeah, solid win there and another solid race. Mistake free again, and wins it comfortably.
Michael McCabe home in second, Josh Anderson third. Looking further down, as we see Josh put it into the fence, and just trying to, my telemetry's now all playing up, but we'll...
Yeah, Scott Newton home in 7th. I'm just trying to get him as they cross the line. Gary Hamilton finishes 8th. Someone there finished in 9th, Mark Rayner. David Jennings 11th. Martin Zlaski, the one I can never pronounce, in 10th. So that was your top 10 for this evening. But yeah, some cars now, a lot of cars coming across the line.
Yeah, we'll go through the full results very shortly, but there's still a lot of racing going on here, as we can see the cars streaming across the line here.
Yeah, Phil Gadd there coming home now at 26, and a good battle behind him. Kevin Henderson 27, Russell Clark in 28th, and Alex Pole in 29th. Those three look like they couldn't be separated for that last few laps. Justin Strickland in 30th. Jackson Freer in 31st. Oh, a good little battle there. I think he might nearly run out of fuel there. A few cars slowing right down to the end there, Bernie.
Yeah, well, they might have cut it pretty close on the fuel, because I guess the trick is with this racing is to have a super fast pit stop, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not sure, not having driven one of these around the this circuit, how many laps you can get out of a full tank, but assuming that they'd all start with a full tank and only have to just take that splash, possibly, then yeah, it would definitely make a difference at the end.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the full results here at Suzuka tonight, folks, and you can see where your favourite driver finished tonight. So first goes to Benjamin Smith, followed by Michael McCabe home in second. Josh Anderson, that's your top 3 and your podium. He comes home in third. Tim Harris 4th, 5th Simon Feigl, 6th was Riley Preston, so he did get Scott Newton on that last lap. Scott comes home in 7th. 8th Gary Hamilton, Mark Rayner 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Martin. We'll just say Martin.
Oh, you get out of it easy. Number 11 is David Jennings. Coming home in 12th, just behind him is Guy Leach. Riley Blythe in 13th, just trying to find my way. Darren Marsh in 14th. Ryan Harris in 15th there. Sam Katakazunis, that's better, in 16th. Craig Edwards in 17th. Dylan Shepherd in 18th, just behind that battle pack we were watching before. Simon Gelly in 19th, and Alex McKellar rounded out our top 20.
21st was Jay Normoyle, followed by Scott Goodman in 22nd. 23rd goes to Mark Simon. Mick Gray comes home in 24th. TJ Brown in 25th. Phil Gadd 26th. 27th was Kevin Henderson, followed by Russell Clark in 28th. Alex Pole comes home in 29th, and Justin Strickland rounds out your top 30.
Yeah, then we got Jackson Freer, Andrew Kiss in 32nd, Rory Boyd in 33rd, Joseph Falcamata, got to be careful with that name, 34th, James Arnold 5 is in 35th, Chris Palat in 36th, David Miller in 37th, Colin Mason Hayes in 37th, I believe. Oh no, sorry, he's in 38th. 39th is Sean Watts, Brian Inglis in rounds out our 40, and I'll finish that off for you, Bernie. There's only a couple left. Warren Pickering in 41st, and Darren Lezoux managed to stay on the same lead lap in 42nd. Then our cars at a one lap down. Troy Burgess in 43rd, Shane Hammond in 45th, Stephen Downs 46th, Bradley Matheson 47th, 48th is Stuart Carsey's, Scott Harris is in 49th, Brock Creamers is 9 laps down in 50th, 51st is Gavin Sadler, which is, he unfortunately got caught up in one of those incidents, and Scott McKay, Matthew Trotman, Mitchell Burnett, Colin Sooty and Danny Davidson all finishing with a DNF, I believe, with anywhere between 11 to 17 laps down at the end there, Bernie.
Well done. So we got through the 56 drivers, but let's bring up our race winner, and that goes to Benjamin Smith. Hi Ben, welcome to RRTV's commentary box, and congratulations. Pole position, leading every single lap of that race, and of course coming home in first. But you didn't get the hat-trick of the fastest lap again.
Well, we can't complain about the pole position and the win, so yeah, no, really happy with that. Just a super clean race, and managed to not have to go side by side at all, which is always nice. So come home with a super clean car, and yeah, happy to bring home the points.
Yeah, and if there's ever been an important time to qualify at the pointy end, it must have been tonight. 56 cars made the grid here tonight.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been easy if you could get a lap in qualifying. There would have been a lot of cars to overtake, so credit to all the boys for keeping it relatively clean. I was just having a chat with Trent, and he was saying there weren't too many incidents, so yeah, it was good, and there actually wasn't too much traffic, so yeah, everyone had some pretty good pace, so it wasn't like there was the men with the boys. Everyone seemed to be on pretty much the same page.
Yeah, we saw a few incidents, but very minor incidents. A couple of guys banging wheels or spinning, but nothing really major. It was very hot out there, of course, today, and had the tyres hold up on that car.
Yeah, the times at the start of the race, they weren't as good as qualifying for myself, so I thought the weather might be a little bit hotter. Tyres held in, fine. It's not an overly huge race length, so I think it was 18 laps. It's not like the tyres are burning off towards the end. So you just notice a little difference when you come out of the pits with slightly more fuel than you had before. So yeah, no, tyres were fine, track temp was fine, the car wasn't sliding too much. Just a couple of dramas kind of around spoon and the hairpin, getting the power down, but I think for the rest of it, it was pretty stock standard.
Fantastic. Well, I'm just going to see if Luke's got any questions for you. But congratulations once again from me. Yeah,
here you go, mate. Yeah, it seemed like a pretty good race out in front there. Obviously, did it quite comfortably, as you say, a nice clean car. And not much trouble with lap traffic tonight, I'm guessing, with such a long track. We only saw cars a lap down normally from them having a bit of an incident. So I'm sure you had a pretty easy run up front there in a nice clean track. Must have been good for once instead of being on a shorter track with a lot of lap traffic.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bull ring here at Suzuka. There's plenty of space for the cars to spread out. So yeah, I only encountered a couple of lap cars, so pretty clear air for most of the race. Although I did get to follow I think Troy Burgess for a couple of laps, and I did notice that you definitely do get a bit of aero push around the faster corners. So that's something I hadn't experienced before, so it's good to get the experience under my belt for if I have to be following a car on a snaky track like this one in the future.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, that was my next question. How do you keep yourself alert at running out the front, kind of like with nobody else in front of you, and then having to encounter those cars? Is there something that you keep an eye on, or try and give yourself some goals with your lap times kind of thing, just to make sure you keep concentrating?
Yeah, I've always got a number I'm aiming for, so if I'm kind of drifting off, I know I've got to put my foot down a bit harder, and yeah, just trying to make sure that none of the lap cars get in the way and spoil your lap times, but it helps having the relative bar up and knowing what lap times you're doing, so you can keep yourself very alert and making sure that no one's catching you from behind.
Yeah, no worries, Benny, and we'll just give you the floor to give a shout out to your sponsors and anyone else you'd like to say hello to before we let you go tonight.
Yeah, small crew from ERA on tonight, but we had a good race, finishing pretty well. So yeah, massive thanks to our sponsors, MPMS Racing Simulators, Joel Real Timing, Maverick Welding, and GTI Springs. It's always good having them on board. So thanks to the broadcast boys, and I'll see you next race.
So the next guy to have a chat with is Scott Newton. I'll bring him up. Did you want to do the interview?
Yeah, no worries, Benny. Evening, Scott. Welcome to the RRTV commentary position. Good finish tonight, mate. Starting 11th and finishing 7th. About 25 seconds behind the leader, but had a good race there, mate. We saw a few good battles going on between you and Gary Hamilton, Riley Preston, and Mark Rayner there towards the end. Good 3 or 4 car battle. So how'd your race go?
Hey, Lucky. Yeah, but for a race wasn't too bad. I saw that a couple of guys were having the little individual fights up towards the front, and that allowed the 3 or 4 car battle I was in to catch up that little bit, and then it sort of got strung out. Myself battling Simon for pretty much the whole race. We were pretty much matching pace until the pit stop, where I managed to overtake him on the outside of 130R on the end of lap 11, which was time to pit pretty much because I ran out of fuel. But yeah, just making a little costly mistakes at 180R or the hairpin allowed him to catch back up, and then yeah, I was just trying to hold on until the end, but yeah, made a couple of mistakes at Degner 1 and 2, which is pretty notorious around there. Quite slippery, and once you get that off track, it sends you right towards that tyre wall, and you're trying frantically to avoid it. So yeah, I think P7 was probably the target today, and yeah, I managed to achieve it.
Yeah, it was a good race overall. We did see a lot of people have a bit of trouble there through a few of those different corners, and being one of the faster tracks so far on the calendar for these Formula Renaults. How'd you find the handling of the cars in such a fast kind of flowing track when you're in one of those battle packs?
I found that setup was quite neutral in traffic, like behind a car in front of me. But once I was away from that draft, I found that there was quite a bit of turning oversteer, especially going into the hairpin and spoon. But it's just because of the fact that they're quite cambered corners that it likes to send the back of the car out. So you just got to manage that throughout the race, and just try and keep it pointing where you want to go instead of looping it at set corners.
Yeah, no worries. Also, we were wondering, you mentioned fuel before. We saw, I noticed a few cars near the end of the race there actually having a bit of a cough and a splutter across the line. So obviously, these cars, did they restrict the fuel tonight, or was that actually a full tank of fuel and not being able to make the distance and then having to top up?
Because it's a fixed set, we are all on the same fuel to start, and we have to pit. So the fuel restricts the fuel actually makes us pit. So it isn't enough to get to the end. So people might have just been trying to risk it, taking that 2.5 litres less than what they may have should have. Which is obviously unfortunate for them. But yeah, I accidentally took too much fuel, so I could have got a little bit of a better pit stop time, taking that little bit less.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. As I said, there was a few seemed like they struggled and slowed right down near the line there. So obviously, as you say, a lot of cars cutting it close, and obviously a few cars like yourself just taking that little bit extra just to be safe and managing to make the distance quite easily. Before we let you go, I'll just see if Bernie's got any other questions for you, and we'll see you for the next round as well.
Yeah, the only I don't really have any. The only question I've got, Scott, for you is, have you got any sponsors you want to give a shout out to, or anyone that's helped you tonight?
Yeah, cheers, Bernie. I'd like to thank Apex Racing Academy, Sim Peters PC Systems, Leo Bodner Sim Steering, JCL Sim Racing, Elite Driver Services, and all the guys at Apex Racing UK for their support.
Fantastic. Well done on your finish tonight. 7th, I think we had you down as. So we look forward to seeing you next week.
No worries, cheers, fellas. Take care.
So we'll bring Gary Hamilton up next and have a bit of a chat with him. Hi Gary, welcome to RRTV's commentary box. It looks like your race tonight was sort of right in the thick of things, in further down the field because you're out of sequence on your pit stop. How was the traffic out there?
Bad. G'day, Bernie. Yep, nice. One of those races that happens. Yeah, that didn't work out at all. So obviously you had the incident on the first lap there with Josh. First lap, you're not going to block anywhere or anything like that. You're going to try and push forward and stay with the guys in the tow up the front. But I'm not sure what the turns are called, but there's a couple of left-handers before the straight, just before the start-finish straight. And Josh sort of got up the inside a little, and it didn't have much of an overlap, but we made contact there, which pushed me out, and then we made contact twice more. So I managed to save that, but obviously lost a bit of run there, and then pulled back in behind Josh, pulled back out, going into the chicane, and then I didn't think he would fight that. I thought up the inside he'd just let it go, and he would have towed me down the next straight, which is what I was assuming was going to happen. But he didn't. He sort of braked late and went for it, and I thought, okay, no worries, and then tried to just stay around the outside, but going back and looking at the replay, unfortunately, looked like a bit of netcode got us there, and I went firing off the side.
Yeah, there was a bit of netcode going on further down. We saw Riley pressing with a bit of netcode as well, which spun him out. But I guess we saw you jump into the pits. Were you hoping to come out and clear track? And if so, where did you come out?
Well, what happened there, when I went off the track, I actually copped a slowdown for when I got pushed off there and come back on the straight. I had about a second slowdown, I think it was. So, unfortunately it's on the straight, so it's the absolute worst place to cop it. So I lifted, and I got the time down to, it actually said 0. And then whilst I was going down the straight, it jumped straight back to 0.7 again. So very, very odd. I guess something to do with the code again. But that kind of sucked because I got 2 penalties. So I'd have to sort. I had to have a big lift. When that happened, I don't know where I fell back to, that 15th or something. I thought there was talk about a safety car, if there was some stuff going on at the start of the race, and I thought, well, I'll nip into the pits now. It's slower because you're going to fill the thing up with fuel, and when it's heavy it's a bit slower every lap, but if they called a safety car, then that may have got me some track position. So that was kind of what I was hoping for, but that did not happen. And I had to come back through the field, which is interesting. I was quite slow, so I was probably losing 1 to 2 seconds every lap.
Yeah, and I guess, with the field of 56 cars, where you come out after a pit stop, especially when you're pitting so early, probably a bit like a lottery as far as whether you're going to get clear track or not.
Oh, absolutely. I really was just hoping for that safety car, and then people would take their chance to pit, and then I would have got some position out of that. But also, there was a battle going on in front of me with Simon Feigl was in there, and I'm not sure who else, but there's about 5 cars, and I think they were even hitting each other a bit, and I thought, this looks a bit risky. And those guys, are quick as well, so that would have been very hard to get through them. So those 2 things together, I thought, why not? I'm already copped it a bit, and may as well take a chance. You never know, sometimes it pays off.
Yeah, and we saw you try a pretty good move up there in the hairpin on Simon, and you nearly pulled it off, but it looked like he just got a bit of a better run out of that corner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had a nice little run there, and it's good. There was some good racing. That's what you like to see. He saw the move, he gave me room, and but just enough room. So that's exactly what you should do, because it squeezed me a bit tighter, and because I was a bit tighter, I was a little bit later on the power. Otherwise, you'll spin coming out of that corner, and he had a nice drive and I couldn't get it done. So that was a nice little bit there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And before I let you go, though, I'm going to hand you over to Luke and see if he's got any more questions for you, Gary.
Yeah, how you going, Gary? Yeah, we just heard about a few of the guys saying that the car was pretty neutral in the battle packs that they were having. Just spoke to Scotty before, who was just in front of that group that you're in. And how did you find the car within those fast corners with a lot of cars around you, considering that most of the tracks have been gone to lately have been what we refer to as the bull ring, I heard before.
Yeah, the set was quite good actually, in not so much balance, on throttle, off throttle, but basically sort of, when you initially get on the throttle, it can produce a bit of understeer, but when you're on the throttle hard, coming out of the corner, it's nice and balanced, and then off the throttle, it can definitely produce some understeer, so you kind of use that when you're following someone. So other sets and tracks, we'd get quite a lot of aero push, and it would really sort of stagnate the field. But in this one, if you felt a bit of push, just a quick lift on the throttle, and you get a bit more bite from the front, so you can get back on the power then, and it wasn't much of a penalty. So I would love to have been back up the front there, but I think there would have been some good battles. The car was quite nice to drive. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you're right. There was a fair few battles throughout the field, including your one in around that 6th to 10th kind of positions, and also mid-packed out 14 to 20th kind of thing. Had some really good battles through there after and before the pit stop. So before we let you go, we'll open the floor and let you thank any sponsors and shout-outs to anyone before we let you go for this evening.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. So shout out to all the Elements boys there. Win the day as normal. Always give them a shout out. Hopefully they're watching. So go to their site if you haven't seen them, or on Facebook. Obviously, got Win the Day. Got some really cool clothes, and for a good cause, early detection of cancer and cancer awareness. And a big shout out to you guys as well. It's always great watching this stuff and seeing what mistakes we made. And a big thanks for race control as well, putting the effort in. And I'm sure they were busy in that race.
Yeah, I bet they were. Anyway, Gary, thanks for popping in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Luke. Hopefully a better result.
So our final interview tonight is with Trent Thomas, and we'll see just how busy race control was. Hi Trent, welcome to RRTV's commentary box. 56 cars on the track here tonight, and how busy was race control?
We had, it was actually not too bad, especially the first lap. We were expecting there to be a bit of carnage, actually. Everyone was pretty well behaved, got through there, gave room, which was good. And then just the usual bumps here and there, some late breakers, missed brake markers, that sort of stuff. So it was actually a pretty well behaved field out there, just with the odd occasional mistake, really.
Yeah, the standard of driving seemed pretty high out there tonight. We saw quite a few guys, spinning off on that, but there didn't seem to be any big accidents, which I was quite surprised at in the first lap.
Yeah, there wasn't, and got to see, I think it was Riley Preston and Josh Anderson side by side through turn 1 and through the start of the S's, and they were millimetres apart, and there was no contact made, which was really weird until Riley suffered some sort of a weird issue where it looked like he actually got hit from a carb from behind. His car just snapped sideways on him, so I don't know what happened, but I couldn't believe how close the cars were together side by side through that section. It just shows the skill of those, especially of those particular two drivers.
Yeah, and we also witnessed later on in the race guys going too wide through that tight chicane without banging wheels, and I didn't think that was possible, but they managed to make it work.
Yeah, that's it. I think especially since the start of the season, driving standards I think has come up a lot. I think race 1, 2, 3 and 4 we were seeing almost probably 20 odd cars in the field out of a 50 car field, basically smashing on the first lap. I know in those early races I was participating, and race 1 for instance, I was started 41st, last position on the grid. By the end of lap 1 I was 18th, So there was a lot of carnage in those early races. So it's good to see that it settled down, so that the racers get to race, the viewers get to actually see some racing rather than just cars crashing and sitting in pit lane.
Yeah, and the forced pit stop also makes it very interesting. We saw Gary Hamilton try his luck pitting early and hoping for a safety car, but which didn't happen for him. But it was interesting to see him as he had to fight his way through the field and see where he washed out at the end of the pit stops.
Yeah, he was involved in an unfortunate incident at the end of the first lap, which caused him to go off track, and he had copped the slowdown, I think, and it put him way down the back of the field, which was unfortunate for him. But it's starting to, Ben Smith's starting to certainly open himself up to be clinching this championship very soon.
Yeah, he's definitely looking very dominant at the moment, especially after last week and again tonight. Having a look at, he's currently sitting third in the points, so I don't know how much he gets. I guess let's have a look. Probably another 800 points tonight.
Yep. I'm not sure what points you're looking at, but there's also a points table that shows the drop rounds. And after drop rounds, he's actually at the top before tonight's race, so that's just going to cement his position even more.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the one you published without the drop rounds.
Now, there should be some tabs down the bottom of that page. And you should be able to flick through each round info as well as the drop rounds.
Okay, I'll check that next week, but it's all too high tech for me. I just grab it and throw it on the screen.
Yeah, it's Google Docs is something I'm only new to as well, so if I'm incorrect, which I'm likely, I apologise.
Yeah, no worries. Luke, have you got any questions for Trent while we've got him up here?
Just one. I think it was Gary that mentioned that there was talk earlier on in the start of the race that a safety car may or may not be called for incidents, but I'm guessing, as we said before, that all the drivers seem to behave themselves, and at a track like Suzuka, where if you do go off, there's plenty of room to go off and you're not really interfering with anyone, that a safety car wasn't necessary.
Yeah, it's something us in race control we spoke about prior to the race, that we actually thought, given the grid size, some of the history of starts of races earlier in the season, and the fact that the start of the lap is quite sort of twisty, and there's probably a high probability of a lot of cars being involved in an incident. And if that had have happened, that's when the safety car would have come out. In that instance, next week we're actually at Montreal. Tight walls. It probably only takes about 2 or 3 cars really to sort of get involved in an incident which could potentially block the track, which could see the safety car come out for the first time. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for next week as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a very exciting round. I love Montreal myself, and good in any car, and obviously the F1s and also a Formula Renault will be excellent around there. So look forward to that, and hopefully no safety cars, but that'll clear it up for our viewers if they're watching next week, and one comes out, they'll know exactly why.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We've never had a safety car in the series, even in SMAC prior to the Formula Renault series. We ran 5 seasons of that and never had a safety car. It was only really an option for last season though, and we haven't seen one for this season yet either. So it's if there's going to be a chance, it could be next week.
Yeah, I can guarantee if you put 50 cars onto Montreal, you will get a safety car.
Yeah, that's very true, and I apologise if I killed your computer tonight, Bernie, with the number of cars that were on track. I know I dropped to about 30 odd frames per second at the start of that race with all the cars there, so apologies for that.
No, it's fine. It surprisingly handled it quite well. But anyway, guys, we could chat all night, but we won't. But for the viewers out there that like their GT3 action, tune in this Sunday for the SEK Queensland GT3 Championship. I think it is a 6-hour race this weekend. So have a look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/Redback Racing TV for the actual broadcast times. But that's this Sunday, and it's they always put on good action. All right, Luke. Well, thanks for joining me again tonight. It's always a pleasure calling these races and having you jumping in the combox.
Yeah, no worries, Bernie. Thanks for having me, and thanks to Trent for hosting and also doing race control as well. Big shout out to those guys that work hard every week to organise these great events for everyone as well.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, fantastic effort. And anyway, viewers, it's time for us to say goodnight. So on behalf of Luke Emerton and Trent Thomas, I'm Bernie Weemers, and thank you for tuning in to RRTV. Good night.